Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Manachari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Manachari Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Kodanitai Maya Poshashi, Kodanitai Maya Poshashi, Kodanitai Jaya Maya Poshashi. Escambro in the cave. So reading Crown. Oh yeah, please. Yeah. Mr. Folder there? Oh, you got it. Krishna's Kaviraj wrote the Cheating Chants of Music.
Yesterday was Bhagvatam.
So we know that Raghunath Das wrote to be like Krsna, as I'm reading it right now. What did Raghunath Bhatta write?
He was a Bhagavad creator. So Mahaprabhu was like all the Goswamis to do cycle job, and Raghunath Bhatta Goswami like task was to distribute the knowledge of Goswami. So in his place of secret, he used to Bhagavatam that kind of year.
I was just reading also in the Vila Kusumanjali, Lord Chaitanya asked Sanatana Goswami to explain the Sambandha, and then he asked Sri Raghunath Das Goswami to explain how to, Rupa Goswami to explain Rasa, and Sanatana Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami how to explain how to achieve ecstatic devotion, how to come to the Ranganuga platform. And we just read last night, actually, you're not qualified to read Vila Kusumanjali until you're at least at the stage of steady Vaidhi Bhakti, and even better if you're at the stage of Raganuga Bhakti, or at least the beginning stages of Raganuga Bhakti. Otherwise, you can just hang on for now. One devotee was asking if he could read it now, so better if he becomes a little bit steady first. And the dangers are very high, because you can take it the wrong way, have a mundane idea, and then instead of making advancement, you block your advancement. So Prabhupada said, first deserve and then desire. So Raghunath Das Goswami, Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami was most probably born in the year 1416 Shikabda in the village of Sri Krishnapur as the son of Govardhan Majumdara, who was the younger brother of the then Zamindar, Hiranya Majumdara. His spiritual master at home was Yadunandanacharya. In Panihati, he arranged for a feast of chipped rice and yogurt for Lord Nityananda and all his associates. So Sri Nityananda, he called him a thief because he was trying to steal Lord Chaitanya without first of all going to him. Sri Nityananda was very pleased with him, and by his mercy Raghunath Das could attain the association of Lord Gauranga. Although Raghunath Das was a family man, he had no attachment for his estate and wife. It said that his wife was as beautiful as an angel. Seeing his tendency to leave home, his father and uncle engaged special bodyguards to watch over him, but nevertheless he managed to escape their vigilance and went away to Jagannath Puri to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This incident took place in the year 1439 Shikabda. The Lord entrusted him to the care of Swarup Damodar, his secretary. Thus they both engaged in the confidential service of the Lord, attending to his baths, meals, rest, massages, etc. He rendered this service in Jagannath Puri for 16 years, and after the disappearance of both the Lord and Swarup Damodar, he left Jagannath Puri for Vrindavan, where he stayed at Radhakund. Raghunath Das intended to go to Vrindavan to see the lotus feet of Rupa and Sanatan, and then give up his life by jumping from Govardhan Hill. The two brothers, Rupa and Sanatan, however, did not allow him to die. They accepted him as their third brother and kept him in their company. Because Raghunath Das Goswami was an assistant to Swarup Damodar, he knew much about the external and internal features of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Thus the two brothers, Rupa and Sanatan, used to hear of this from him. Raghunath Das compiled 3 books, Stavamala or Stavavali, Dana Charita, and Mukta Charita. He lived for a long duration of life. For most of his life, he resided at Radhakund. He almost completely gave up eating, and therefore he was very skinny and of weak health. His only concern was to chant the holy name of the Lord. He gradually reduced to sleeping until he was almost not sleeping at all. It is said that his eyes were always full of tears. When Srinivasacharya went to see him, the Goswami blessed him by embracing him. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami was formerly the gopi named Rasa Manjari. or Tulsi Manjari, or Rati Manjari. Sometimes it is said that it was Rati Manjari. So here we have a lot of people called John. So say, oh, but I thought he was called John. So like kind of spiritual as well. Then the name Rati is quite, and also Tulsi is used quite well. Shri Raghunath Bhatt Goswami. Shri Raghunath Bhatt Goswami was born in approximately 1425, Shri Kapta, as the son of Tapana Mishra, a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. When Lord Chaitanya stayed at the house of Tapana Mishra, Raghunath Bhatta, who was then a boy, washed his dishes and massaged his legs. When Raghunath grew to be a young man, he visited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri and stayed there for 8 months. Lord Chaitanya asked him not to marry, but remain a brahmachari. Sometimes he offered prasadam to the Lord. He was an expert cook. Wherever he cooked would be a nectarian. Lord Chaitanya was greatly pleased to accept the foodstuffs that he cooked, and he would take the remnants left by the Lord. Later, by the order of Lord Chaitanya, he went to Vrindavan and remained there under the shelter of Sri Rupa Goswami, for whom he recited the Srimad Bhagvatam. He was so expert that he would recite each verse of the Bhagvatam in 3 melodious tunes. While living with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord blessed him by offering him betel nuts offered to the Jagannath deity and the garland of Tulsi, said to be as long as 14 cubits. The Govinda temple was constructed by Raghunath Bhatt Goswami's order to one of his disciples. Raghunath Bhatta supplied all the ornaments of the Govinda deity. He never talked of nonsense, of worldly matters, but always engaged in hearing about Krishna. He never cared to hear blasphemy of a Vaishnava. Even when there were points to be criticized, he used to say that since all the Vaishnavas were engaged in the service of the Lord, he didn't mind their faults. Later, Raghunath Bhatta lived by Radhakund in a small cottage. He was formerly the gopi named Raga Manjari. Shri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Appearing near Katwa, Krishnadas Kaviraj left for Vrindavan after Lord Nityananda told him in a dream, "Oh, my dear Krishnadas, do not be afraid. Go to Vrindavan, for there you will attain all things." Krishnadas took Diksha from Raghunath Das Goswami. He lived a renounced life at Shamakund near Manasa Pavanagat, Radharani's midday bathing place. Shri Jiva Goswami, as per his custom of giving titles of honor to qualified devotees, gave Krishnadas the title Kaviraj, the king of poets, for his poetic masterpiece, Govinda Lilamrita. During Krishnadas's time, all the Vaishnavas would gather at Govindaji's temple to hear Sri Haridas Pandit read Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. The devotees were eager to hear about Lord Gauranga's later pastimes, so they asked Krishnadas Kaviraj to write them. Krishnadas prayed to Madan Mohan for ability and blessings. The deity's flower garland fell down, indicating divine sanction. Krishnadas Kaviraj's Chaitanya Charitamrita is the most accurate, authentic, and philosophical biography of Lord Chaitanya. Every line is full of infinite humility, enthusiasm, and devotion for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Krishna Das had the wonderful power of speaking without offending, even when rebuking his opponents. He had vast knowledge in all Vedic scriptures. His books show his skill in the Shrutis, Smritis, Nyaya, Jyotish Shastra, and the culinary arts. Although he was an erudite scholar, a strict ascetic, a Paramahamsa Rasika Vaishnav, Krishnadas writes about himself, "I am deaf, dumb, wholly illiterate, worldly minded, and lower than a worm in stool." His personal humility automatically attracts the heart of any reader of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishnadas Kaviraj was a living example of humbler than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. A devotee will advance spiritually and understand Sri Chaitanya's teachings on Radha Krishna and Raja Leela Krishnadas by reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. In Braj Leela, Krishnadas Kaviraj is Kasturi Manjari, one of the 8 most intimate maidservants of Srimati Radharani. Shri Vaishnava Thakur's Ki Jai. Thank you. And reading from Rupa Goswami's Nectar of Devotion, and this section is entitled Further Considerations of Devotional Principles, page 78. And this one is Rendering Service to the Lord. It is stated in the Vishnu Rahasya, any person who can arrange for service to the Lord in the same way that a king is given service by his attendants is surely elevated to the abode of Krishna after death. Actually, in India, the temples are just like royal palaces. They're not ordinary buildings because the worship of Krishna should be performed in just the same way that a king is worshipped in his palace. So in Vrindavan, there are many hundreds of temples wherein the deity is worshipped exactly like a king. In the Naradiya Purana, it is stated, if a person stays in the Lord's temple, even for a few moments, he can surely achieve the transcendental kingdom of God. So that's the significance of living in a temple, as you may be experiencing. It's the part where it says rendering service to the Lord. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagvatam. This is the 7th canto, and it's chapter 9, entitled Prahlad Pacifies the Lord with Prayers. And is the text 41? Evam swa kama patitam bhava vaitaranyam. Evam swakama patitam bhava vaitaranyam. Anyonya janma Varanasana Bita Bitam Anyonya Janma Maranasana Bita Bitam. You got the tune right anyway. Hantati Parachara Be free Mudam Ajya. Can you read this one the same as Brahma Sanita? Oh, did I miss the third one? Sorry. Pajyan Janam Swa Para Vigraha Vaira Maitram Pajyan Janam Swapara Vigraha Vaira Maitram. Hantete Parachara Pi Prihi Madam Mudam, sorry, Mudam. Mudha is a fool. Aja Hanteti Parachara Pi Prihi Mudam Aja. Evam Swakama Patitam Bhava Vaitaranya. Anyonya Janma Maranasana Bita Bita. Pajyan Janam Swapara Vigrara Vaira Maitra. Ante Titi Parachara Pipri Mudham Aja. Evam Swakama Patitam Bhavasa Vaitaranya. Anyonya Janma Maranasana Bita Bita. Bhajanjanam Swapara Vigraha Vaira Maitram Hanteti Paracharapi Primudam Aja Evam Smakama Patitam Bhavavaitaranyam Yonya Janma Maranasana Bita Bita Bhajanjanam Swapara Vigraha Vaira Maitram Hateti Pacharapi Primudam Aja Evam Smakama Patitam Bhavavaitaranya Anyonya Janma Maranasana Bita Bita Bhajanjanam Swapara Vigraha Vaira Maitram Ateti Parachapa Primudhamaja Swakama Patitam Bhavavaitaranya Anyona Jamma Maranasana Bita Bita Bhajanjanam Swakpara Vigravaira Maitram Anteti Parasharapi Primudamacha Evam Swakama Patitam Bhavavaitaranya Anyonya Janma Maranasana Bita Bita Bhajanjanam Swapara Vigraha Vaira Maitram Anteti Paracharapi Primudamacha Evam. In this way, Swakama Patitam, fallen because of the reactions of one's own material activities. Bhava, compared to the world of nescience, birth, death, old age, and disease. Vaitaranyam, in the river known as Vaitarani, which lies in the front of the doorway of Yamaraj, the superintendent of death. Anya, one after another. Jamapitam, Janma, birth. Marana, death. Ashana, different types of eating. Bitam, being exceedingly afraid. Bhajan, seeing. Janam, the living entity. Swa, one's own. Para, of others. Vigraha, in the body. Vaira Maitram, considering friendship and enmity. Hanta, alas. Iti, in this way. Parachara, O you who are on the other side of the river of death. Pepri, kindly save us all from the dangerous condition. From this day. Mudam, we are all foolish, bereft of spiritual knowledge. Aja, today because you are personally present here. Translation, my dear Lord, you are always transcendently situated on the other side of the river of death. But because of the reactions of our own activities, we are suffering on this side. Indeed, we have fallen into this river and are repeatedly suffering the pains of birth and death and eating horrible things. Now kindly look upon us, not only upon me, but also upon all others who are suffering, and by your causeless mercy and compassion, deliver us and maintain us. So we were in the co-op the other day, and had a whole wall, and it was just all different types of pot noodles. Just thought of that because it says we're eating all kinds of horrible things. Bhagavad Srila Prabhupada Ki. Prahlad Maharaj, a pure Vaishnava, prays to the Lord not only for himself but for all of the suffering living entities. There are two classes of Vaishnavas, the Bhajanandis and Goshtanandis. The Bhajanandis worship the Lord only for their own personal benefit, but the Goshtanandis try to elevate all others to Krishna consciousness so that they may be saved. Om Agyanatamananda Shagananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swabadantikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyeva cha paridnam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So, put your hands up if you're busy on Tuesday nights between 6:30 and 7:30. Great. You know why? Because there's a Zoom meeting on Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani, and this point that's coming up just now is explained very succinctly by Shiva Maharaj. There's a faction of devotees who emphasize more the Gaudiya, the Bhajananandi, that be more interested in your bhajan than going out and preaching. And so that, for some devotees, that will be appealing. But that's not the line that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur spearheaded. Bhagavad Thakur prepared everything. Bhaktisiddhanta spearheaded it, and then Srila Prabhupada carried it on from India through to the rest of the world. And that's why we don't worship Gadai Gauranga, we worship Nitai Gauranga. Because Gadai Gauranga is when you want to sit and do bhajans all day. You're more absorbed in kirtan and rasa. And Nitai Gauranga is get out there and preach. Nityananda was told by Lord Chaitanya, go door to door. So the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya is meant either to go door to door or to approach people face to face on the street. And it's an important part of the sadhana in our line, because by doing that we get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya through all the acharyas coming through to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada wanted. So if we don't understand the importance, the significance of distributing books, and we're not inclined to want to do it, then it means we may be more inclined to the Vaishnanandi than the Goshtanandi. But that is our line. We're meant to go out there. I was just reading Try Dasa's offering last night in the Vyasa Puja book. I'm slowly getting through all the offerings. So he's 75. And he says sometimes his body's in a lot of pain and he thinks he should just retire now. But then he remembers that Srila Prabhupada started when he was 70, the Hare Krishna movement. And when he was 75, he was in full force. You know, things were really happening when Prabhupada was 75. So then he says, how can I retire? So you may even think, well, I'll do book distribution for 40 years and then I'll put my feet up and just read Vyala Kusumanjali and I'll be a-okay. But and Srila Prabhupada said, Tridas quotes him saying, I want to die like Arjuna on the battlefield. So he just wants to keep going, passing out books to the very last. So that's our line anyway. We're Goshtanandi, we're not Bhajananandi. And so Srila Bhakti Chintamani clearly delineates the path how you go from Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, and eventually you come up into the high levels of practicing devotional service, and how to avoid the factions that will lead you off the path. There are other spiritual masters and other spiritual paths, and they will seem to offer sometimes greener pastures, and we've lost a lot of devotees in ISKCON just because they didn't really know what Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas were giving us. We have all these wonderful books by the Goswamis, and if we want access to those books, then we should follow the systematic method that Srila Prabhupada has laid down, and then we can become qualified. Once you're well rooted in Vaidhi Bhakti, then you can stand up and get spontaneous devotion. But if you go too far ahead of your station, then that's Achihara Prashacha Prajoha Niyamagraha. That's Niyamagraha. Niyamagraha means to go beyond what you're qualified to do, and it also means not to come up to the level that you're qualified for. Either staying back in your comfort zone, or going beyond what you're actually qualified to understand. Questions at the end, but write it down, or make a mental note of it. Fools who cannot perceive repeated birth and death and the other miseries of materialistic life cannot be sure what will happen to them in their next birth. Indeed, these foolish, materially contaminated rascals have manufactured an irresponsible way of life that does not consider the next life. They do not know that according to one's own activities, one receives a body selected from 8,400,000 species. These rascals have been described in Bhagavad Gita as duskritino mudha. Non-devotees, those who are not Krishna conscious, must engage in sinful activities, and therefore they are mudhas, fools and rascals. They are such fools that they do not know what will happen to them in their next life. Although they see varieties of entities eating abominable things, pigs eating stool, crocodiles eating all kinds of flesh, and so on, they do not realize that they themselves, because of their practice of eating all kinds of nonsense in this life, will be destined to eat the most abominable things in their next life. One time my mum was fishing, Srila Prabhupada walked past and the man had some fish. And he said, "Would you like some fish?" And Prabhupada said, No, you enjoy. And then he said to the devotees, and then you suffer. Or something along those lines. A Vaishnava is always afraid of such abominable life, and to free himself from such horrible conditions, he engages himself in this devotional service of the Lord. The Lord is compassionate to them, and therefore he appears for their benefit. Yada yada hidamasha glaniya bhavati bharata abhutanam adamasha tadatmanam shijam yam. Whenever and wherever there is a decline of religious practice or descent of Bharat and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Bhagavad Gita 4:7. The Lord is always ready to help the fallen souls, but because they are fools and rascals, they do not take to Krishna consciousness and abide by the instructions of Krishna. Therefore, although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is personally the Supreme Lord Krishna, he comes as a devotee to preach the Krishna consciousness movement. Yari Deka Tari Kaha Krishna Upadesh Amara Agyaya Guru. Krishna Upadesh. Shishika. So, Lord Chaitanya is asking everyone to become a guru and deliver this land. And the guru is, the bona fide guru is the one who doesn't alter anything, he just gives the instructions as he said. That's why book distribution. You can be a guru because you just give people Krishna. Bang, Bhagavad Gita, bang, Bhagavad Gita. There you go, Bhagavad Gita. I was out the other day, I was the very first person that stopped and she was an old lady, and she said she'd had COVID. She'd had some kind of long COVID, and she'd had to go on this program of detoxifying herself. And she was doing yoga and meditation. And I said, "Oh, well, we're giving everybody a Bhagavad Gita today." And she was like, "I've heard of the Bhagavad Gita. How much is it?" £10. Okay, give me it. And she took it like a hungry man, like a hungry woman. She'd like been looking for this. So she'd gone on a little journey, and now Krishna had arranged it. Okay, there it is, Bhagavad Gita. So although I'm not qualified, by giving somebody Bhagavad Gita, then I act as a guru. Amara Agaya Guru Anatara Adash. So Yari Dekatara Kaha Krishna Upadash. Amara Agaya Guru Hana Tara Adash. One should become a guru and spread Krishna consciousness all over the world simply by preaching the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. And then Prabhupada just ends there like that. Any questions or comments? Yeah, you have a question, Alan? Yeah, there's a book called Sankalpa Kamudi, and it's a book dedicated to the whole process of understanding what level you're on right now. So basically, the three basic levels are Kanishta, Majjhima, and Uttama. So Kanishta means Kar is without, and Nishta means fixed. So he's without being fixed. So if we're up one day and we're really enthusiastic, and we're down the next day and we're not so enthusiastic, and we find it easy to respect the deities, but we struggle in the association of devotees to show respect. Sometimes we're able to do it, sometimes it's a little difficult for us to show that respect. So Rupa Goswami, he says, at least in the mind, we can offer them respect. If they're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna to Yashigiri Talmana Shadrata, then at least respect them in the mind. And then if they're fully engaged in worshiping the deity and everything's, hunky-dory and they're fixed, Majjhima, then great. Go and pay your obeisances to them, make a bit of a fuss over them, get them a bag of sweets or something, be really nice to them, Majjhima Adhikaris. And it's quite a challenge to go from Kanishta to the Majjhima Adhikari. Majjhima Adhikari is a preacher. He likes to go out there and all the time, and he can identify the devotee, the non-devotee, the envious, and he can see Krishna as well to some degree. So that's quite a huge leap to go to the Majjhima Adhikari. And then the Uttama Adhikari is like, he's at the stage of at least ruchi. He has taste. He's not just Majjhima Adhikari. He's gone through Anata Nirvriti. 75% of the unwanted things are now removed from his heart. So he's really making rapid progress now. He's really starting to move. His quality of devotional service, it's not going up and down. He's not offensive to other devotees. He sees that some devotees, he sees that some are non-devotees and some are devotees, and he sees that some are envious. So he has them categorized, and he knows how to deal with them and navigate his way through the environment in a way which is not going to impede his progress. So he's well on his way to making advancement toward ruchi, which is when the devotional service starts to become spontaneous. So for most of us, we're in the Kanishta Adhikari stage, and we're struggling with the unwanted things that are there in the heart and coming to steady devotional service. But as a general rule, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that after 15 years of steady devotional service, then we can look at Artha Pravritti. We can start looking at the more intimate aspects of Krishna consciousness, but not until then, unless an exceptional. That's just a general rule. Obviously, some people will come in and they'll be very advanced, some people can be very conditioned. That's just a general rule that's there. And then if we identify ourselves as Kanishta Adhikaris, then there's certain areas we won't delve into. We'll just keep ourselves on the basics, the Sambandha, the Abhideya, amassing the knowledge and then putting it into practice. And just by the process of Vaidhi Bhakti, Vaidhi is that we're doing it because we have to do it, not because we want to do it, but because we've taken vows, we've committed to the process. So even though our senses, our urges are tugging us away from doing the right thing, we do it anyway. So that's Vaidhi. And then when you have a spontaneous attraction for devotional service, and you really like doing it, and you haven't got a problem with the regular principles, then you start to come to the stage where your devotional service is starting to become spontaneous. Any other questions or comments? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. 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 There was a nice talk the other day by Manida. He's a German Prabhupada disciple. He's been doing books for 50 years. And he was saying, these devotees that don't go out in book distribution, they don't know what they're missing. They're missing all the fun. Because you don't get as much fun peeling carrots as you do going out distributing books. It's maybe a bit tougher, but then you pay the price, the rewards are higher as well. Because it can be austere. And it can be bewildering when you're first out there for the first hour. If nobody stops for the first hour, it can be really bewildering. It's like, okay, is there something wrong with me? Did I forget to put my head on my shoulders today or something? Why is nobody stopping? And then there's a certain point where there's a breaking point. And on book distribution, what's the point where it breaks? It's the point where you meet somebody nice. You meet somebody sincere. And as soon as that happens, your whole paradigm changes. It's like, wow, that was such a nice person. There must be other people like that out there. And you start looking for them. That's the Majjhima Adhikari. And usually you're transported up onto the Majjhima Adhikari. And before that, when you're doing Sankirtan as a Kanishta, you can't really discriminate. All you see is just a wall of faces coming at you, and every one of them looks demoniac, and you're thinking, and then suddenly somebody nice, the vision changes, and you see the street, and you that guy over there, he needs a Bhagavad Gita, and sure enough, yeah, it happens. You get that transcendental vision, So that's the potency of book distribution. That even though you're not a Majjhima Adhikari, at least for that time while you're out there doing the books, you're elevated up onto the Majjhima Adhikari platform, and you can discriminate, you can see. And then when you finish Sankirtan, back down again on the Kanishta platform. So the more you stay out, that's why a marathon is good, because a marathon, you don't come down, you build up a certain intensity, and then you go out every day, and you start off from where you left off the day before. Because normally when you go on Sankirtan, you've had a break for a few days, it'll take you a while to get back up to the level that you were at the last time you were out. And usually around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, it's starting to go good, and then suddenly you've got to stop, But with a marathon, you don't stop, you keep going, you go longer, and you start earlier, and then you keep that mood, and then you really start to break through so many barriers. And that marathon is an important part of the year, because that month helps you to break through so many barriers and an artist, and then that catapults you into the next year. And then the next year, the marathon catapults you again. So it's an important part of the whole process. Also, Srila Prabhupada said we should go to the Dham every year, every few years at least, That's also an important part of of the sadhana is you get to go to the Dham, and then the Dham will reward you for all your austerities you performed while you've been preaching in the West. So many realizations, so many nice tastes will come. And that's the Dham saying how much it appreciates your efforts. And then you go back and you're ready to go for it again, and then you go back to the Dham after that. So the marathon every year, going to the Holy Dham and Bhakti Shivishan, these are all important parts of the whole package that Srila Prabhupada's giving us. And if a person thinks, well, I don't mind the going to Dham because you can just sit around and not do much, that's good. Prashad, I'm up for that as well. I'm not sure about the principles of Mangalarti and Bhakti Shivisham. I think I'll skip those. I'll just go for it. Then it doesn't work. You have to take the whole package. Yeah, it's like, because I hadn't been out I'd been out practically every day for 40 years, and then the next minute I had to stay back for 2 years. And then when I came back out, it was like putting a little fish back in the ocean, just back in the natural environment, just swimming around. It was really good. And it's never easy. Just before you start, you're always butterflies, or what's it going to be like today? Is anybody going to stop? It's always there, that never goes away, because that's part of the surrender, that you don't really know what's going to happen, because you don't have any control of how people are going to respond. Any other questions or comments? Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember who said it now, but somebody said that we are Bhajanandis that go out to preach. So they've asked me to go over to Budapest and do some seminars on Sankirtan before the marathon. I used to do that before, and Gauramani, the temple president, is saying we can put 3 days aside if you want to do a holy name retreat. So the potency of the preaching is based upon the bhajan. So both of them have to be there. But if you sacrifice one for the other, then you lose out. So it's the combination of the bhajan, the deep absorption, and then the going out and sharing it, and not being selfish and thinking, well, I mean, who would want to become a guru if you weigh it up? There you are, you're doing really well, you're tasting the holy name, you're seeing Krishna's pastimes while you're chanting, you know your swarup, you're going back to Godhead, everything's fine, and then you're going to put that in, you're going to risk that by digesting other people's karma and getting all their desires and all their karma when you take them as disciples. So why would you do that? Why would you take that risk? But that's what an Ghostanandi is. He's experiencing his bhajan very deeply, but then he wants to go out and share it in a very selfless way. And of course, by doing that, that will nourish. But Prabhupada did say that if you have a small fire, you can't put too much wood on. Not at first, anyway. Small fire, the best way to get a fire going is you use small pieces of wood. And then when it starts to take, then you put bigger ones in, and then eventually you can put a massive log on. But if you do that right at the beginning, it will just put the fire out. So you have to be careful. If you become a guru, just take care of 1 or 2, and then 3 or 4, and then build up like that.
Which part is like more maybe easier or better in order to attain perfection than the Vrindavan or the Goswami? Like, I mean, like quickest and shortest way, like Vrindavan or the Goswami?
Well, it seems to be the safest path to be a Bhajananandi. But then if you go to Radhakund, you'll find that they're not following the principles very strictly. Prabhupada said like that. And that's why he said don't stay in the Dham too long, because otherwise you can become quite offensive. You see what's going on, you know. Just go there and Haribol, join them. After a week, 2 weeks at the most, get back out. Because there's some unusual things going on in the Dham, you know, in the name of Krishna consciousness. And we don't want to judge them, but a lot of them, Prabhupada said, would come back as animals in the Dham. Because if you're sinful in the Dham, and he also, when he found out that some were falling down in the Dham, he said, go to Mayapur, where Lord Chaitanya was all merciful, but don't do this in Vrindavan. What was the first part, sorry? Yeah, yeah. No, there'll be a problem. That's why we have gurus falling down. If you want to be safe, then wait till he's been a guru for 20 years and then take initiation. You can wait that long. Or come across one that's been a guru for 20 years, 30 years, take initiation from him. Because you don't always know in the beginning. And they don't always know. And they may make a mistake. You can make a mistake. The path is like a razor's edge. It starts off really broad, but eventually it goes like a razor's edge. And if you make a mistake with a razor, then you get caught. And the way that you get caught is that you fall away from spiritual life. You lose your attraction for the holy name. You may fall down with one of your disciples. You may become attracted. We've seen that happen, you know. And that's why we need to have both Acharya and GBC, because the whole GBC can't all fall down. You can have an Acharya can have some problem because he's taking on too much karma, and he could have a problem, but not a body of people. So the supreme authority in ISKCON is the GBC, and then they give out guruship. They may turn around and say, "Oh, Krishna Das, you've been steady now, book distribution for 50 years, and there's a lot of people that really like you, and you inspire them. We give you permission now to become a guru. Go and take disciples." And then he does, and then something goes wrong, and they say, "Krishna Das, we've had reports of this and that. We're taking back your guruship right now. Chant some extra rounds, be a good boy, maybe in a couple of years, we'll give it back to you, maybe we won't." So that's where it's set up in ISKCON, to safeguard against. And that's the strength also. You could say it's the weakness. Look, there's been problems with this guru and that guru and this one. But the strength is that the society still can continue. Whereas if that was just one mat with one Acharya and something went wrong, then that would be the mat finished. It'd be like, they'd all be fighting about who's going to take over, you know. Yeah, it's not legally, it's not illegal to take initiation outside of ISKCON. But then you also, because we're an institution, then you have to take shelter of that institution that your guru's in. And there are some devotees that there's one in Vrindavan, and he's a disciple of Narayan Maharaj, but he doesn't preach about his guru. He has full respect for Srila Prabhupada. So then we're fine, we can cooperate. But what we can't handle is then them coming and taking people that have become interested in Krishna consciousness through Srila Prabhupada's books in the society, and then saying, "Oh, come to my mat, become part of my movement." That we can't tolerate. So, like, and then devotees like that, if they do that, then they're banned. They're not allowed to come into the society because they're taking good devotees away somewhere else. Yeah. So as an institution, we have to safeguard. At the same time, we want to have respect for all Vaishnavas, because anyone that's chanting Hare Krishna is an elevated soul anyway, very special. And then if he knows scripture well, and he goes preaching and he brings other people to Krishna consciousness, and all glory is to him, But you need to understand the gravity of it is that then you step outside of Prabhupada's line, and you go with him, and whatever his line is. Whereas with Prabhupada, you get so much blessings, and you have so many things that are there, that so many temples you can go to. You can give class, you can lead kirtan, you can preach the glories of Srila Prabhupada to others. All these facilities are there, but you don't have access to them if you're not in this society. And so when Shri Ramaraj, when we asked him about it, he says, well, good fences make good neighbors. So if everybody knows where they stand, and then it means new people that are coming, that are open, they can be directed towards, and that way our society can grow and flourish. And these other spiritual teachers, they should just be very honest and say, I'm not in a Srila Prabhupada society. I'm in my own society, or Gaudiya Math, whatever it is. And everybody knows where they stand. And people don't become misled. ISKCON Govinda ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premalandi.